Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galino, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Topshelfoldies. Want to welcome you to the September 12th, 2020 Vinyl Treasure Show for more 1950s and early 60s 45s out of my collection. Glad you can join Johnny G on this beautiful day here in New York City. Perfect day for me. I wish I was out, but I was preparing for my show. I was doing research with Charlene here, and Barbara asked if I can go for a walk, but I said we'll do it tomorrow. It's going to be overcast, but it's not going to rain, so tomorrow should be okay. But I'm here to spin original vinyl 45s for the next 3 hours here on Top Shelf Oldies. Opened up tonight's 50s show with tenor saxophonist from Binghamton, New York. His name is Pat the Cat Monforte, and it's on the Brunswick record label from June of 1958, a song entitled Blow Pat Blow, with some groupers, some guys shouting in the background there, but his first record came out in 1956 on the BSD label. He had some other releases also, but that's a cool rockin' sax instrumental to open up tonight's Vinyl Treasure Show. Well, without further ado, let's get to the vocal portion here. Lots of flip sides, lots of Daryl flip side requests, and we're going to open up here with a flip side as requested by Daryl. I featured the Chesters out of Brooklyn, New York, with 17-year-old Anthony Gourdine on lead. The song was called The Fires Burn No More. Played that last week. It was a song he wrote. He also wrote the flip side. It's a cool up-tempo to open up tonight's vocal portion here. So this is going out to Daryl from December 1957. The Chesters on Apollo. It's called Lift Up Your Head.
I know, I really know. Lift up your head, look straight, knock on the door, and away she'll come running like she did before.
B-sides here as we open up the vocal portion of the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there by request for Daryl Letts in our YouTube chat room, December 1957. Those are the Chesters on Apollo with Little Anthony on lead. That's the B-side to The Fires Burn No More, song entitled Lift Up Your Head with Sammy Lowe and the orchestra. I tell you, collectors, if you see that on the record label, you're going to want to buy that 45 along with Tico Wilshire. He's another one that I look for. Let's continue here And here's another flip side from last week. Evan Blatt requested the Noble Tones from Elizabeth, New Jersey on the C&M label, and they had 3 on the C&M. Evan requested the A-side of their 3rd release. It was called I'm Crying. Let's flip it over here for the up-tempo side from 1958, the Noble Tones on C&M. It's called Mambo Boogie.
Yeah. Why you Mambo Boogie? Well, now me and my baby gonna rock and roll tonight. Cause my pretty baby gonna hold her 2 feet tight. Yeah, she went round and round, feet never hit the ground. Mambo Boogie. Well, now me and my baby gonna have a ball today. Cause we really don't care what the people say. Yeah, about 2:15, say what you gonna do? Mambo Boogie. Hey, hey! Yeah, about 2:30, say what you gonna do? Mambo Boogie. Well, now me and my baby gonna have a ball today. Cause we really don't care what the people say. Yeah, about 1:15 when the day is done. Mambo Boogie. Hey, hey! Yeah, about 1:30, say what did you do? Mambo Boogie. Well, now my pretty mama ain't ever gonna dance no more. Cause my pretty baby left her 2 shoes on the floor. Yeah, about 2:30, say what did you do? Mambo Boogie. Mambo. Mambo Boogie. Mama's gonna boogie all night.
$1958 there. Those are the Noble Tones. The Noble Tones on the C&M record label. Their tune called Mambo Boogie. The flip side is a nice ballad, I'm Crying, as requested by Evan Blatt. There are 3 releases on the label I think are pretty nice for the Noble Tones. I think they were reissued also. Did they come out on Relic or something? They reissued a bunch of their records. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. It's 1950s and early 60s 45s out of my collection. We count them down chronologically here, and we're going to open up here with a request for listener George Tompkins. This 45 came out on the It's a Natural label. That label was owned by Sid DeMay and is the same label that released the Orioles of 1948 release there, It's Too Soon to Know. But Jubilee, a record label owner, Jerry Blaine, he acquired the label back in 1955 and revived it for this song that was recorded in 1953. He released it in 1955, so it's kind of an too early a sound for 1955 as the music kind of changed a little bit, but it's still a great tune that I like. We're going to send it out to George Tompkins. Released in March of 55, probably recorded in 1953. Give a listen to the Knickerbockers. The Knickerbockers on It's a Natural. It's called You Must Know.
You must know my heart was meant for someone. Could it be someone as nice as you? You must know the first kiss that you gave me was so sweet. It made my life complete.
Honey, honey child, I'll never know why your kiss thrill me so. Darling, but I must confess to the one I love best.
You must know, darling, the way I feel about you. Don't you know you made my dreams come true.
They don't make records like that anymore, that's for sure. Those are the Knickerbockers going out to George Tompkins there, March 1955, although recorded in 1953. On the It's a Natural record label. It's called You Must Know. You must know that Johnny G plays only original vinyl 45s every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. Now, let's continue here. And I did a special moon-themed show. I think it was back in April 3rd of 2018. I think it was in celebration of the blood moon, I think it was back then. It was like a one-time thing, or the next time was going to be like 100 years later. So I played a whole bunch of songs with moon in the title. Believe me, there are a lot. And one of the songs I did play on the show was called Late Rising Moon by Earl Curry and the Blenders. It came out on the R&B record label back in November of 54, and I had the flip side sitting in the box since 2018. So let's give it a spin after 2 years, shouldn't we here? So let's play it here from Hollywood, California, November 1954, Earl Curry and the Blenders. I have this on a Mint 78 too, by the way. It's on the R&B label. It's called I Want to Be With You.
Be with you. I know a school and I long to go there. Yes, I know that you go there, baby. I wanna be with you. Be with you. I know a church and I long to go there. Yes, I know that you go there, darling. I wanna be with you. I'll start at your school next Monday. Try to join the classes you're in. Start at your church next Sunday.
Try to lose all my sins.
Oh, I know places I should have gone to. If I now might have you, sweetheart. I wanna be with you. Be with you. School last Monday, join all the classes you're in. He went to your
to church last Sunday, and now he's lost all his sin.
Oh, I know of places I'm glad I went to. I'm so happy, darling, I have you, sweetheart. I wanna be here with you. Be with you. Yes, I want to be with you.
That's on the R&B record label there. That's Earl Curry and the Blenders, November 1954. That's the flip side of Late Rising Moon, song entitled I Want to Be With You. Johnny G wants to be with you every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. here on Top Shelf Oldies and the live YouTube feed. Those of you watching Johnny G for the first time, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You will get notifications via email if you are registered with YouTube that I'll be doing live broadcasts. It's pretty cool. I don't know. Sometimes Fred gets them late for some reason. He says they're not in Fred Clemens. They're not in his spam. I don't know. I get mine right away. I don't know. Maybe because I'm in charge. I don't know. Johnny G babbling on. Let's continue here. Up next is a request for listener Daniel Kubacki. He requested the Lamplighters out of Los Angeles, California. They had 12 releases on Sid Nathan's Federal record label. Now, Daniel requested their 8th. And this is before Thurston Harris embarked on a solo career. He sang lead with the group, and he's doing lead on this one from January 1955, going out to Daniel, the Lamplighters. The Lamplighters on the Federal label. It's called Believe in Me.
I'm so in love with you. Believe me, I hope you love me too. I need you, I want you, but what will I do if you don't believe in me? Believe me, you're always on my mind. Just love me, don't leave me. I promise that you'll find. I need you, I want you. You'll make my dream come true if you believe in me. I give my all just to prove there is nothing I wouldn't do. If someone took you, my life would end, and I'll never, 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 never love again. Believe me, it's true. Oh, darling, don't grieve me. Please say you love me too. I need you, I want you. Oh, say that you do. Believe in me. I'd give my all just to prove there is nothing I wouldn't do. If someone took you, my life would end, and I'll never, 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 never love again. Believe me, it's true. Oh, darling, don't grieve me. Oh, say you love me too. I need you, I want you. Say that you do. Believe in me.
As by request for Daniel Kubacki there, the Lamplighters. Lamplighters on Sid Nathan's Federal label. I have it on a bio promo there, which are pretty cool. I know some guys, collectors, that just like the bio promos. But that one there, the Lamplighters, January 1955. Thurston Harris on lead for that one. Song entitled Believe in Me. Now, Thurston Harris eventually would leave the group, and they replaced him with Carl White. Carl White came in to replace Thurston Harris with the Lamplighters. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening on the last 50s edition. I played a request for George by the Sharp Tones, a group out of Oakland, California. And their 1956 release on the Post label, it was called Made to Love, which featured Andre Goodwin on lead. Now, it was listener Darrell Letts. Again, he asked if I could flip the 45 over before I file this one back down in my no humidity basement, and I sure will. It's a nice rendition of this tune. You know the song. Again, Andre Goodwin on lead, November 1956. They're called the Sharp Tones on Post. Give a listen to their rendition of the tune Since I Fell for You. Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there requested by Darrell Letts in our YouTube chat room. Those are the Sharp Tones. The Sharp Tones from November 1955 on the Post label. Post Records, a subsidiary of Imperial Records. And that one there requested by Darrell, Since I Fell for You. A nice rendition of that tune. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we are in the year 1955. And here's a request for listener Joe Shacatano. He is in our YouTube chat room. And we head to the Bronx, New York. This is the third of four for Lillian Leach and the Mellows. It came out on Joe Davis's JD record label. This was actually their follow-up to, I guess we can call it their biggest hit, or at least their well-known record of Smoke from Your Cigarette. This one from February 1955, going out to Joe. This one, the Mellows, with Lillian Leach on lead on JD Records. It's called I Was a Fool to Let You Go. Wrong turntable.
I never knew when you said goodbye. I'd miss the blue from out of the sky. Now I'm alone and broken hearted. I was a fool to let you go. a treasure given from above. Like the desert sands slipping through my hands, slowly I let go of priceless love. I must confess I'll swallow my pride. My happiness means you by my side. Why can't we go back where we started? I was a fool to let you go. I must confess I'll swallow my pride. My happiness means you by my side. Why can't we go back where we started? I was a fool to let you go. I was a
As by request for Joe Shacatano, the sweet sound of Lillian Leach and the Mellows. That one there on the JD record label, Joe Davis's JD Records, February 1955. The Mellows with I Was a Fool to Let You Go. That plays nice. Some of the JDs, they play pretty crappy. You got to use a 78 needle on some of those Dean Barlows and Otis Blackwells. They just don't play well. But that one plays really nice for some reason. Probably not recycled vinyl, or how they cut the record. Who knows? Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. Let's continue here now. Listener Nat Papagallo from Florida, he sent me a whole bunch of requests for groups from Brooklyn, New York. So when you hear the name Nat, you're going to hear a Brooklyn group, that is for sure. And this group, as I mentioned, from Brooklyn, New York, and they made their debut single, though, in 1953 on the Timely label. I have played it here, Thrill of Romance, which you have to play with a 78 needle, although the 78 sounds spectacular if you own that record on the Timely label, was called Thrill of Romance. And in 1956, they met up with band leader Al Brown, and he assisted them with their next release that came out on the Joyce label, which I think Al Brown, he either was part owner of this label or it was his label. But this one from November of 1956, Nat requested the Gay Tunes on the Joyce label. Earl Kirkton, he is the lead singer. This is the A-side. It's called You Left Me.
Alone and blue.
As by request for Nat Papagallo, those are the Gay Tunes. The Gay Tunes, November 1956. It's on the Joyce label, a group out of Brooklyn, New York, with Earl Curtin on lead, a song entitled You Left Me. The flip side's good too. At requested the flip. That'll be next week. As we continue here, we move into, actually that was 56, so we are in the year 56. For this next group, they're from New York City, and they are known for having one of the most off-key records in existence. If you're familiar with their release on the Playback label in 1956 called Ladis, which I do have. I don't know if I played it here on the show. It's not in great shape, but I do, excuse me, I do have that record. I have that 45. But they followed up that Playback release, Ladis, with this one, a better sounding 45 in my opinion, on High Weiss's Paradise record label, co-written by the lead singer. His name is Milton Turner. We go back to August 1956 for a group known as the Packards. The Packards on the Paradise label, and this is the original version of the song, by the way. You may know it by the echoes on G, but this is the original. The Packers with Ding Dong.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong,
Ding, a ding dong.
ding dong. The bells are ringing, ding dong. The angels singing, ding dong. The bells are ringing for you and I. Ding dong, the bells are pealing, ding dong. My heart revealing, ding dong. We're building love for you and I met you on a Sunday about a month ago. You told me that you loved me, and you never let me go. Ding dong, the bells are ringing, ding dong, the angels singing, ding dong, the bells are ringing for you and I. I met you on a Sunday about a month ago. You told me that you loved me, then you never let me go. Ding dong, the bells are ringing, ding dong, the angels singing, ding dong, the bells are ringing for you and I, ringing for you and
Those are the Packers. The Packers there from, lost my place. August 1956 on the Paradise record label. Milton Turner, he's on lead. That's the original version of Ding Dong. That would be covered by the Echoes. The Echoes that came out on George Goldner's G label later in the year 1956. As we continue here, continuing with the request, this time for young Evan Blatt. This is another Brooklyn group, although I'm sure he wasn't talking to Nat on the requests here. But their debut single came out on the Do Re Mi label back in early 1955, was called Love Is a Vow. They were called the Mellow Harps. That is a 45 or 78, believe it or not, that I would purchase. I'm looking for that record. I can't find it. But they would re-record their first song again in 1956 for the Rego label, and they would change the name of the group also. They would become the Teen Tones, and it features Arnold Malone on lead, and you'll hear along with him the high falsetto lead of Vernon Staley. You will hear him. So by request for Evan Blatt, to September 1956, the Teen Tones, aka the Mellow Harps, on the Rego label with their resung version of Love is a Vow.
Let you go, you know, deep in your soul, that I love you so. We took a chance, in not knowing that our romance was still growing within our hearts. Within my heart.
Those are the Teen Tones, a.k.a. the Mellow Harps, there from September 1956 with their resung version of Love is a Vow. Originally came out on the Do Re Mi label, featured this one on the Rego label. And Evan, you sent me a request for another song they did that came out on a repro. It was an unreleased thing. I forget, it was one word. Charlene, do you recall what the name of that was? I didn't have it. It's actually a pretty good song, by the way. So if I do see that reproduction, I would probably buy it for that flip side. But it was an unreleased cut when Evan made the requests for the Mellow Harps, I think. I don't know if they were known as the Teen Tones, whatever. But anyway, that's going out to Evan. We continue here for this next 45 on the Groove label. I really like both sides of this record. This gal, she was just 15 years old when she made this debut release, and she is believed to be the sister of Jean Alford, who was the lead singer of the Four Knights. Her name is Annie Alford, and she's being backed up here by an uncredited group, but they are the Nightcaps. The Nightcaps are backing her up on both sides of this 45. I like both sides. We're going to give a listen to, I don't know which side this is, but her name is Annie Alford. This one from October 56 on Groove. It's called Give Up and Tell.
Might as well give up and tell. You have got me in your spell, but I don't mind, because I find you fill my heart with every
That's Annie Alford. Annie Alford and a group. The group is the Nightcaps. The Nightcaps, October 1956 release on the Groove label. That's a subsidiary of RCA Records. It's called Give Up and Tell. She has another one I have on the Vic label from 57. Of course, later on she recorded as Ann Ford. And I played her a release on Apollo, a great record she does on the Apollo label. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. Let's continue here. And up next, I have a twin spin on Sid Nathan's King record label by a group from Brooklyn, New York. They're called the Hurricanes. They initially recorded as the Toppers on the Jubilee label, but up first is the group's second release on the King label, as requested by Joe Shacatano. Now, this features Henry Austin on lead. Later on, Henry Austin would change his name to Henry Alston. But at this time, in January 56, it was Henry Austin. So this is going out to Joe. January 56, the Hurricanes on King with Maybe It's All for the Best.
Darling, I hate to see you go. You've always been my love, you know. I'll miss you so the tears will flow, I guess, but maybe it's all for the best. Oh yes, my heart may cry and say nay, nay. My soul may long for yesterday. Darling, no matter how my heart regrets, maybe it's all for the best. I have my memories of you, no matter where you are. This heart of mine that once loved you will always bear the scar. Someday we'll try again, I know. Kiss me goodbye, then let me go. Darling, don't cry, let's you and I confess that maybe it's all for the best. Maybe it's all for the best.
It's a great tune there. Thanks for requesting that one for Joe Shacatano there. The Hurricanes, January 1956 on the King record label. Maybe It's All for the Best. That's their second release on King. Henry Austin on lead, and later on as Henry Alston, he had releases on the Skyline label. He was also the lead, by the way, of the Memos on the Memo label. Yes, he was. I told you there was a twin spin on the Hurricanes. They had 7 releases in all on the King label. We just heard their second. Nat Papagallo requested their 6th, again with Henry Austin on lead. This one from January 1957, a whole year later release on the King label. Give a listen to the Hurricanes and their tune called Fallen Angel.
Fallen angel. Fallen angel, someone lift your wings.
fallen angel. Someday you'll forget. Tears you now regret. Your broken wings will mend, and fallen angel you will rise again. Fallen, fallen, fallen angel.
That's a twin spin there by the Hurricanes. The second one there for Nat Papagallo, January 1957 release, Fallen Angel, on the King record label. Henry Austin on lead for that one. My favorite by the group, by the way, is a song called Dear Mother. You know that tune by them? That's a cool tune that they do. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as I had a sip of coffee going down, excuse me, the wrong pipe there. So let's continue. Now, it wasn't so long ago. I remember, when was it that I played the original version of this song? Played the original version of this song called Dreamy Eyes, is done by the Youngsters. I think it was for the doo-wop couple, Ron and Dorothy. They wanted to hear all the Youngsters' songs except Christmas in Jail, and I did feature all their songs. But the Youngsters originally did this in 1956 on the Empire label. Now, there were other groups that also recorded this. The ones that come to mind, the Squires on Aladdin, the Viceroys do a nice rendition of it on Original Sound, and this group out of California on Irving Shorten's Tampa label. It features Larry Dean on lead. I'm going to send this one out to George Tompkins from February 1957. They're called the Sparklers. The Sparklers on Tampa with their rendition of the tune Dreamy Eyes.
Dreamy eyes, dreamy eyes, dreamy eyes, dreamy eyes, dreamy eyes. Who are you dreaming of? Dreamy eyes. Who do you really love? Who holds the key to your heart? Tell me who do you yearn to kiss? Open up your heart. Don't torture me like this. Your dream will drive us apart. Your lonely lips gravel love. You live and you die just for love. But do my lips excite, thrill and ignite that fire of love deep inside? Dreamy eyes, I need you desperately. Dreamy eyes, I'll be in ecstasy if you were dreaming of me. Dreamy eyes, dreamy eyes, dreamy eyes.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there going out to George Tompkins, the Sparklers version of the tune Dreamy Eyes. That one there from February 1957 came out on the Tampa label as we continue now. And last week I played a request from my California listener, Métis Campboy. Came out on Johnny Otis's Dig record label, a group called the Gladiators, a very rare 45 called My Baby Doll. She requested the A-side. Let's give a spin to the flip side before this one goes back down in the no humidity basement. Now this side again features Renee Beard on lead, and if you don't know, Renee Beard was the younger brother of Matthew Beard, and Matthew Beard was Stymie of the Little Rascals. This is Stymie's youngest brother on lead here from March of 1957, The Gladiators on the Dig label. The tune is called Girl of My Heart.
I love you so, girl of my heart. Want you to know, listen to me. Please say you'll be mine, mine alone. Be mine alone. How I love to tell the story of the girl of my heart. Please try to listen. Say we'll never part. I am alone, as strange as it may seem, with the girl of my heart. Lately I find that you're on my mind. Just can't sleep at night. Come with me, darling, I need you so much. My heart cries when you're not inside. How I love to tell the story of the girl of my heart. Please try to listen. Say we'll never part. I am alone, as strange as it may seem, with the girl of my heart.
That's a rare 45 for you collectors out there. Gladiators is the name of the group from March 1957 on Johnny Otis's Dig record label. Girl of My Heart is the name of the tune. I think that record, I got it out of Rich Chris. He was a fine collector of this music. Used to go on as on the R&B Review, and he ended up getting sick, unfortunately, and he ended up passing away. But he was selling his records, and through another person that used to supply me with rare records, Spence, he also passed away, but he was instrumental with me getting this record out of Rich Chris's collection. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, let's continue with another request, this time for Joe Shakatana. We head to Harlem, New York for the Collegians on Paul Winley's Winley label. Now, the A-side of this 45 was called Zoom, 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 and was actually more popular in the early 1960s with the revival of the music than when it first came out back in December of 1957. But Joe requested the B-side, which is also excellent. It features Harlan Jackson on lead. We go back to December 1957 for the Collegians on the Winley label. Going out to Joe, it's called On Your Merry Way.
You go on your merry way,
Not
thinking of the lovers who you led astray.
well, why'd you make me cry? You know the reason why. You went on your merry way. I feel so bad. I feel so sad.
If you come back, I'll be so glad. You and on your merry way. You left me broken hearted. You left me by myself. You found somebody new, and I am so blue. Well, you left me by myself, and I don't know what to do. You went on your merry way, your merry way.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there by request for Joe Shacatano, the Collegians. The Collegians from December 1957, the B-side to Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. It's called On Your Merry Way. That's going out to Joe Shacatano on the Winley label. And we were just talking in the YouTube chat room that the first presses of this, they play pretty crappy, to be honest with you. They're like very grainy presses. The second press, the one that Slim Rose was selling in Times Square Records with the big print, those play much better. I even have a copy on styrene that plays really nice. It was my first copy. I paid 79 cents at Linden's Records in White Plains. It actually had a BB hole in it, and it had that 79-cent sticker covering the BB hole. It was kind of weird, but I still have that record. But I played the heck of it. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening spinning original vinyl 45s. We are in the year 1957. We head back out to California for a request for The Colonel. It's on Lyle Griffin's Hip label, HIP Records. Now, this gal goes by the name of Faye Wilson, and there is a group backing her up. Now, this may be the J.O.s. I don't know if it's the Hollywood Flames. I don't know if they were been together. Maybe parts of them were together, but I don't know. But it's with Johnny Otis's orchestra, so it's possible it could have been the J.O.s, or it could have been anybody out there backing her up. But again, Johnny Otis and his orchestra, and she's doing a nice rendition of this song. And this is going out to The Colonel from April 1957, Faye Wilson on Hip, and her rendition of the tune, I Miss You So.
I miss you so.
Those happy hours that once were ours, I miss them, yes, I know. Most of all, I miss you so.
I miss you so.
Now that I'm lonely, I want you only to share my dreams once more. Please come back. I miss you so. I thought that you said we'd never part. My you know, most of all, I miss you so. I really love you. Yes, I really miss you so.
I miss you so.
As by request for the Colonel there, though, that is Faye Wilson and a group there. They're also on the flip side, which is the flip side's pretty nice also. April 57. It's on the Hip label. It's her rendition of the tune "I Miss You So." And it's funny. I'll show you that label again. Look at the logo. There's like a tall cat, and I can't see what's on the other side. I guess they were trying to be hip. I don't know what was hip in the 1950s. I have to read you. I have a magazine from the 1950s, and they have definitions of words and what they mean. It is really funny. One of these days I'm gonna get it out and I'm gonna read it. It's a 50s magazine that I ended up winning on eBay. It's pretty interesting. Let's continue here with the Vinyl Treasure Show. A couple weeks ago I played a request for Evan Black by the Chancellors on the Port label. I was on Facebook, and Braden has a 78 of this, which I thought was pretty cool. But it's the Chancellors on the Port label. It was called "Tell Me You Love Me," and the group is out of Port Washington, New York. But let's give a listen to the flip side before I file this one back down in the no humidity basement. It features Edward Palatilia on lead, some Italian guy on lead. This one from May of 1957, the Chancellors on Port with "There Goes My Girl."
Ba 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 le 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 ba ba le 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 wa wa le 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 wa wa le le wa wa
There goes my girl, she's walking down the street. There goes my girl, oh no, she can't be beat. There goes my girl, yeah, she is all mine. Oh, 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 there goes my girl. Oh yeah, she looks so fine. There goes my girl, I love her all the time. There goes my girl, yeah, she is all mine. Well, I really, really love her so. Oh, I'll never, never, never let her go. I love my baby till the end of time.
'Cause she's all of mine.
Oh, there goes my girl. She's walking down the street. There goes my girl. Oh no, she can't be beat. There goes my girl. Yeah, she is all mine. Well, I really, really love her so. Oh, I'll never, never, never let her go. I love my baby till the end of time.
Because she's all of mine.
Oh, there goes my girl.
As May 1957, the Chancellors. You also can get this as the Five Chancellors because they had to change their name to the Five Chancellors because there was already a group called the Chancellors. It's on the Port label. There Goes the Girl. Edward Palatella. That's it. Palatella is on lead there. A group out of Port Washington, New York, with Billy Rock and the orchestra. Got to say hello to a couple people here at Hi-Fi Tim, our Top Shelf Oldies DJ on Monday evenings from 8 to 11 p.m. is in our YouTube chat. We also want to say hello to Brad and Santi tuned in to the Vinyl Treasure Show. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the show. I really appreciate it as we continue here. And here is an old request for Nat Papagallo, this group out of Philadelphia, PA, as members of this group included members from other groups, the Quadrells for one, that recorded on the Whirling Disc label, and the lead singer of this group previously sang lead with the Dreamers that recorded on the Grand and the Roland record labels. His name is Kent Peeler. Kent Peeler, he's the lead singer on this song, and they do a great rendition of this standard as we go to George Goldner's Mark X records for this one from September 57. They're called the Universals. The Universals on Mark X, and their rendition of the tune Again. Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That is by request, an old request for Nat Papagallo listening down in Florida. Those are the Universals. Universal's September 1957 release on the Mark X label. What a cool sounding label to collect. Kent Peeler on lead, the Universals, and their tune called Again. Johnny G, again, is playing original vinyl, and on my August 1st, 2020 show, I played a twin spin. I think it was for George Tompkins by this Washington, D.C. group. They were known as the Gales. I featured both of their 45s on the Mellow label. I think it was Guiding Angel was their first, and I followed it up with their second on the label, If I Could Forget. But we were talking if the flip sides were good, and they are good, so we're going to give another twin spin of their B-sides or their flip sides right now. So we're going to open it up with their first one here, as it's the flip of Guiding Angel, their first release on Mellow. This one from December 57. These are the Gales on Mellow with Baby Come Home.
Doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dee-dee-dap, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dee-dee-dee, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dee-dee-dee, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop dee-dap-dap, doo-bop
Why don't you come on home where you belong? You said, I said, love could be free. I know, you know that we'll love for eternity. Oh, baby, I need your love, baby. My sound above, baby. Why don't you come on home when you belong? Well, I love you, Daddy. I never let you go, oh, baby. I'm not love, baby. Now that you're home, baby. Now that you come on.
That's the first of our twin spin there by the Gales. I think that's the rarer one. One of these is much harder. Both hard records to find in original format for sure, but that is their first one from December 1957, the Gales. The flip side is Guiding Angel, Baby Come Home. Let's flip over their second release on the Mellow label. I featured this side already on whatever, August 1st, so you can check it out on the archive, If I Could Forget. And this side is also pretty good. It's called Josephine. This one from September 58, the Gales on Mellow. This is their follow-up. It's called Josephine.
Cutest girl I've ever seen. She is my pimp queen. That's my Josephine, my Josephine. Eyes that gleam, just like a diamond ring, makes my heart go ting-a-ling. That's my Josephine, my Josephine. I don't care what she used to be. I know what she is today. If she loves me as I love her, who cares what the world might say? She's my queen, and someday I'll be her king. Then you'll hear church bells ring, ding dong. She'll be my Josephine, my Josephine. I don't care what she used to be. I know what she is today. She loves me as I love her. Who cares what the world might say? She's my queen, and someday I'll be her king. Then you'll hear church bells ring, ding dong. She'll be my Josephine.
That completes our twin spin on the Gales. The Gales, that's their second release, September 1958 on the Mellow label. It's called I don't even know how to say this. Josephine is how they spelled it. Josephine. That's how they spelt it. But they would have one more release, another rare record they do on the Win label, WINN, in 1960. It's called I Love You. That's another cool tune that they do. Anyway, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasures Show, and I was saddened to hear of the passing of the last remaining member of the Monotones, lead singer Charles Patrick. And how unfortunate, they passed away on his birthday, his 82nd birthday, September 11th. And he would have been 82 years old. So I decided to play a few of their sides, as I love the Monotones, especially the ballads they do. And of course, they were from Newark, New Jersey, and their debut single would be their biggest hit, The Book of Love, of course, you know. It first came out on B. Caslin's Mascot label. I really have a trash copy of that. I need a nice, clean copy of that Mascot label. But it was picked up by Argo Records and became a big, big hit, and The Flip is such a great ballad, which I played just like 3 weeks ago. So I could have played it again, but I wanted to feature some of their other ballads that I like. I think I played it August 1st. You can go to my August 1st YouTube show and give a listen to that B-side. So I decided to pull out some other ones, and here's one that is a favorite of a lot of people. I have received lots of requests over the years for this B-side to their third release on the Argo label, as we pay tribute to the late Charles Patrick, the lead of the Monotones. This one from December 58, Argo Records, the Monotones with Soft Shadows.
Boom, boom, boom. Soft shadows make me dream. They're so lovely and it's so real. For I need your time. Oh, I love you oh so much. I love you with all my heart. Promise, darling, we'll never part. For I need your love. Oh, I swear by stars above, soft shadows make me dream sweet dreams of you. Soft shadows, they are so wonderful. Oh, I do love you so. I'm crying, my poor heart is dying. Hear the winds wailing just for you. Oh, I do love you so. Please, please don't leave me. Don't ever go. For I soft shadow. Oh, I need your touch. Need your
Oh, that's a great tune there, as we pay tribute to to Charles Patrick, the lead there on that tune, Soft Shadows, December 1958, their third release on the Argo label. The flip side, I'm not going to play the flip side, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. That was the A side that does get played a lot, but I wanted to feature the ballads. I will have one up-tempo, I think their most desired record. I will have other records by the Monotones as we continue through the years. We are on the year 1958. They have releases in 59. But let's continue here with more flip sides from last week as I played a request for Joe Shacatano by Willis Sanders and the Embers, a song entitled Lovable You. But to Darrell Letts, he asked if I could play the flip side, and I will. It first came out on the Million record label. I need it on that Million label. I don't have it, but I do have it on the second press Unart. So this one going out to Darrell, October 1958, Willis Sanders and the Embers. I have it on the Unart label, and their tune called Honey Bun.
Honey bun, boo, boo, shaboo, yeah, yeah, shaboo, 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 whoa, 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 shaboo, 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 yeah, yeah, shaboo, 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 honey bun, for I say, baby, I mean, young lady, don't you tell me, maybe. Won't you be my honey bun, for in my heart, dear, there's a love for you there, wanna hold you so near, oh, won't you be my honey bun, I wanna be the one you love, 'cause you're the one I'm dreaming of, if there's a chance, don't I don't wanna let you go. So please, baby, you know you amaze me. Stop my going crazy. Oh, won't you be my honey bun, boo, boo, shaboo, yeah, yeah, shaboo, 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 whoa, 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 shaboo, 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 yeah, yeah, shaboo, 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 honey bun, I wanna be the one you love, 'cause you're the one I'm dreaming of, if there's a chance, don't tease me so, I don't wanna let you go, so please, baby, you know you amaze me, stop my going crazy, oh, won't you be my honey bun, boo, boo, shaboo, yeah, yeah, shaboo, 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 whoa, 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 shaboo, 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 yeah, yeah, shaboo, 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 honey bun, honey bun, honey bun, honey bun, honey bun, honey bun.
As by request for Darrell Letts, the Willis Sanders and the Embers there. The flip side to Lovable You, October 1958 on Unart Records, their tune called Honey Bun. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, hope you're digging on the cool tunes. We count down the music chronologically here on my 50s and early 60s show, and let's head back to Los Angeles, California for a request for the Colonel, as this group had two releases on Jake Porter's Combo label. Now, the Colonel requested their second. Now, I have to admit, I don't have a true first press of this record, as it is on my want list. I don't think I've ever seen one, because I've been looking for it for a long time, and it goes for some bucks if you do have the true first press, but I don't have it. But I do have the second press, which I don't know, I think the second press maybe sells for about $50 or so, if I'm not mistaken. But I paid less for this because I bought it years ago when I was running labels for Combo. This was offered to me at a pretty low price, but mine has the small Combo logo and the big print. Really needs to have small print, but this is one that has eluded me during my collecting career, but it's a good tune for the Colonel. May 1958, the Debonaires on the Combo label. It's called Cause of a Bad Romance.
I'm sorry I was the cause of a bad romance. I come to you with my heart in my hand, hoping that you understand. I'm sorry I was the cause of a bad romance. That you trusted me all the way. So darling, oh what can I say? Except that I'm sorry I was the cause of a bad romance. I didn't realize I'd hurt you. I'll make it up somehow. Please don't go and leave me. Please don't leave me now. So darling, although I've broken the rule, please say you forgive this fool. Forgive this fool. I'm sorry I was the cause of a bad
As by request for the Colonel there, the Debonaires with Arthur Holly on lead. May 1958, on the Combo label, Cause of a Bad Romance. I featured the second press on that. I think it still has, I think the second press even has the deltas in it. Let me see. Yes, they do. They do have they use the same stampers they did from the label, but it is just a later press, like probably a 1960 press or so. But this is the same Debonaires that recorded for on the Dore label every once in a while. They have other releases too on Dore, and they also, I think their last release, they recorded as the Jades, but it is the same group. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, and on last week's show, I featured the Clusters. The Clusters, another group out of Brooklyn, New York, as requested by Nat. And Nat requested the intended B-side of their TG release was called Pardon My Heart, an excellent ballad with Charlie Scardina on lead. Let's give a spin to the A-side before I file this one back in the No Humidity basement. This was a song that my aunt really liked, but she would tell me she would hear it on the radio all the time, at least New York radio, because it was played on, what is it? Who was the curly-headed kid in the third row that used to play? WGM something, I think, is the station, because it was, I think, top 10 on that station. She used to hear this on New York radio, but every time she went to the record store, they were always sold out, unfortunately. But we're going to give it a spin here. From July 1958, these are the Clusters on the TG label, and the A-side is called Darling, Can't You Tell?
Ooh la la, ooh la la, ooh la 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 la, ooh la la, ooh la la boom 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 boom.
Bells start to ring when I hear you. My heart takes wings when
Those are the Clusters. The Clusters there from July 1958 on the TG record label. Song entitled Darling Can't You Tell. Now, I was showing you guys in the YouTube chat. Let's see here. I have multiple presses of this record. I don't even know if I have the true original. But let me see. Let me just check this again. It looks slightly different. The one that I played was, I think this one, I think I got this copy, the one that I played from Alan Freed's secretary. I went to a Montvale record show, and there was a guy there that said he bought all these records from Alan Freed's secretary. She had her name on. They were Jan was her name. And her copy, if you look, has nationally distributed by Gone Records. You see it to the right there as I show you guys. Those of you that are listening on the live thing, you can't see, but you'll see that it says MK Music. Okay, so then this is a copy, and I don't know, this is a copy that does not have distributed by Gone. If you look, it's not there. A little bit blurrier. It's more of a shiny copy. And you see it has real Gone music. I don't know. And then there's another one that should be without distributed with MK music. I think that's how it goes. But it sounds the same. So Reed, in this case, I wasn't playing the better copy. This is probably the better copy. Anyway, that's... Take it off, because we could play it again. Remember, Alan Freed used to play a record like 20 times in a row. But anyway, it's just a cool record. I like the record anyway that you cut it. It also came out on the N label, which I think I do have that, but that was a reissue. But let's continue here. We are in the year 1958, and here is a request for George by Kenneth Tibbs. His real name, though, is Kenneth Grayson, and he's from Columbus, Ohio. And in 1956, he recorded with his brother Andrew as the Tibbs Brothers on the Atco label. Maybe you own that 45. I do. But here he is with a solo effort as Kenneth Tibbs and an uncredited vocal group. I don't know who the group is, but this was a request for George Tompkins from August 58. Kenneth Tibbs and a group on the Federal label. It's called Darling, I Want Your Love.
Lonely feeling is more than I can bear. Darling, I want your love, need you, yeah, I do. I get so happy each time I see you. Give me your love, and I'll be true. Darling, I'll be true. Darling, I want your love, need you, yeah, I do. Only you can fill my heart with ecstasy, my dear. Heaven knows I love you so much. That's why I want you near. So won't you hold me in your loving arms?
As by request for George Tompkins. Cool tune there. Kenneth Tibbs and a Group. August 1958, it's on the federal label Darling, I Want Your Love. Great tune there. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we head to New Haven, Connecticut for this next 45 on Marty Kugel's Click label. Now, the song was written by Leroy Griffin. Leroy Griffin, he was the lead singer of the Nutmegs, and the Nutmegs would eventually record this song. I think it came out on Relic Records back in 1963. I don't know if they just did an a cappella version, because I know they have an a cappella version, but I don't know if there is also a version with music or instrumentation. But this release is from June of 58. It's by the Mitlow sisters, Mitlo sisters, who are, I know, Shirley and Ruby. I saw that the Connecticut book also said Sally and Ruby. There could be three, I don't know, but well, let's just say there are two, maybe there are three, but there is an uncredited group on this, but they are the Dreamtones. The Dreamtones are backing them up here, and they, of course, would have the very next release on the Click label. It was called Love in the Afternoon, back with Stand Beside Me, a very rare record on Click that I have featured here. I wish I had a better copy, but I don't. But let's give a listen to this tune here from June of 58. I think this is released before the Nutmegs version, but Leroy Griffin wrote it. The Mitlow sisters, June 58, with the Dreamtones backing them up on the Click label, their rendition of the tune, Let Me Tell You.
Stars above you, you know you're the only one for me. Let me put my arms around you. You made me happy since the day I found you. You made me happy, full of fun and fancy free. When I walk you home from school, you talk about the birds and bees. But when we're out beneath the moon, you talk about the stars above you, you know you're the only one for me. When I walk you home from school, you talk about the birds and bees. But when we're out beneath the moon, you talk about the
Those are the Mitlow sisters and their rendition of, I can't say, because maybe the Nutmegs didn't record it yet, but Leroy Griffin wrote the tune there, a song entitled Let Me Tell You, June 1958. It's on the Click label. That is the B-side, actually. The A-side is actually pretty nice, too. A Lonely Sea, I think, is the name of that one, so you got to wait for next week to hear that one. Let's continue here now. On last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I featured the Students. That great tune by the Students, actually both sides of the record are great. Every Day of the Week, featured it on the First Press Note label, which, and actually that Every Day of the Week was the intended B-side of the 45, but I really couldn't file this one back without featuring the A-side, which again is a classic record. This is a classic 1958 sound. This group out of Cincinnati, Ohio. It features Leroy King on lead. I'm playing it on the Note label from July 1958. The Students with I'm So Young. Those are the students from 1958, July 58 release on the Note label, Leroy King on lead, song entitled I'm So Young. The Note, when the Note record comes available for sale, even whipped copies of it seem to be selling for a lot of money for some reason. I don't know. This is a nice copy. I could upgrade my their second release, which is My Vow to You, which is from 1959. I could have a better copy of that, but I have a nice copy of this Students record that I got to reasonably priced, I think. But what a great sounding record, both sides. You can get it on Checker for you collectors out there. The first press is on Checker. The group name has to be really small, real small print. That is the true first press on the Checker release. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasures, and last week I paid tribute to the late Sammy Campbell. He was the lead singer of the Dellarks, recorded for the East West record label, featured their tune Lady Love. Was listener Daryl Letts requested the flip side of that as we pay tribute to, again, another lost lead singer that we lost, Sammy Campbell. This one from June of 1958, the Dellarks on East West with Remember the Night. By request for Daryl Letts there, those are the Dellarks from June 1958. It's on the East West record label. Remember the Night is the name of that one. And he would record, the lead singer passed away, was it 2 weeks ago now? Sammy Campbell, the lead on that. He would record in the 70s on the Filet of Soul label as Tyrone Ashley. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, how about the sound of East LA here on the Vinyl Treasure Show? This duo first recorded as The Shadows on Bob Keane's Delphi record label. Then they changed their name to the Carlos Brothers, and they had 3 releases for Delphi Records. This is their first. They are Jimmy Carlos and Pete Antonano. Together they were known as the Carlos Brothers. This one from February 1959, the Carlos Brothers on Delphi with their tune called Tonight. That's the sound of East LA here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. They're called the Carlos Brothers. The Carlos Brothers there February 1959 on Bob Keene's Delphi record label, a song entitled Tonight. I have different logo styles on that. I prefer the big circles and the big Delphi logo versus the small Delphi logo. Johnny G needs his head examined as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And on last week's show, I played the Adelphis, another group from Brooklyn, New York. Who requested that? It was Nat Papagallo requested the Adelphis out of Brooklyn, and it was on Bob McGee's Rim label. The song was Darling It's You, and again it was Daryl requesting all these B-sides. He asked me to flip the 45 over, and we will do that. It's the first of two on Rim for the Adelphis. Let's go back to April 1958, the Adelphis on Rim. It's called Kathleen.
Kathleen,
Kathleen, Kathleen. Bo, 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 bo. Do, wah, 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 wah.
As by request for Daryl Letts, another flip side there by the Adelphis, April 1958 on the Rim record label, their tune called Kathleen. And Reed asks if I have the glow tones on Atlantic. No, I don't. I had bid on that record on John Tefteller's auction not too long ago, and I lost it. I bid a lot of money on that record, and I was surprised that I lost that record. I did. But let's continue here as we stay in Brooklyn, New York, for a request for Nat again. He's requesting all these Brooklyn groups. I think that's where he grew up, listening to these groups on the street corner. I think he was telling me about that. But this group was initially called the Shy Tones because the lead singer of the group, his name is Graham Lee True, had stage fright while performing in front of people. So they said, well, let's call ourselves the Shy Tones. And their first release came out on the Spot label, which I do have. I don't know if I played it on the show yet. But Nat requested their second, which came out on the Good Spin label. And let's give it a spin here. November 1959, the Shy Tones on Good Spin. It's called A Lover's Quarrel.
Here I'm standing all alone I've been sitting all alone, trying to reach you on the phone because I'm lonely, lonely for you. We had a quarrel late last night, fighting over who was right and wrong, so wrong to ever make you cry. My eyes are burning, turning red from the tears that I have shed for you. Yes, you, my dear. Teardrops are falling from my eyes, just like the raindrops from the sky.
As by request for Nat Papagallo there, the Shy Tones. Well, we're going to send it out to Hi-Fi Tim, our Monday night disc jockey here on Top Shelf Oldies, 8 to midnight, and the Hi-Fi Party. He's going to play that record, but does he have it on the Good Spin label? Actually, we'll see. Maybe he has it on other labels, because originally this came out in November 59 on the Good Spin label as the Shy Tones, A Lover's Quarrel. Then it was re-released in 1961 as the High Tones on the Fonsca, F-O-N-S-C-A label. I was showing it to you guys in the chat room there. And then it was, for some reason again, which I do have, I should have pulled it out to show you, it came out on the Shepherd label in 1962, and they changed the title to All Alone. So, and it's by the Trent Tones from 1962. So it comes out three ways. They changed the title, A Lover's Quarrel, to Lover's Quarrel, to All Alone. So figure it out. I don't know. The DJ copies actually look different on that Fonsca label. And then they have another one on the Fonsco label, which is actually much harder to find than the other Fonsca. If I confused you, that was my intention. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue with my tribute to the late Charles Patrick, lead of the Monotones. Now, this was their fourth and final release on the Argo label, and probably their hardest of the four to find on the Argo label. We go back to July 1959, the Monotones here on Argo with Fools Will Be Fools.
Fools will be fools, that's why they fall in love. Fools will be fools, they never obey the rules. No wonder they are fools, that's why they fall in love. Fools will be fools, that's why they fall in love. Fools always say, I think I'll take a chance on this game of romance. That's why they fall in love. Fools will be fools, that's why they fall in love.
the late Charles Patrick on lead there with the Monotones. July 1959, that's their last release on the Argo label. Fools Will Be Fools is the name of that one. Let's continue here. Earlier, we heard from Willis Sanders and the Embers. I featured the tune Honey Bun on the, again, on the Unart record label. And let's go to the Top Rack record label now for Willis Sanders and the Embers. Although they are not under that name, they are under the alias of the Ravens, believe it or not. They called themselves the Ravens on this release. We're going to send this one out to the Colonel. They do a nice rendition on this tune here from October 1959. These are the Ravens on label only, but it's really Willis Saunders and the Embers on the Top Rack label. Their rendition of the tune Solitude.
Solitude, solitude, solitude. In my solitude, you haunt me with reveries of days gone by. Solitude. In my solitude, you taunt me with memories that never die. My chair, I'm full with despair. There's no one could be so sad. With the gloom everywhere, I sit and I stare. I know that I'd soon go mad in my soul. I'm praying, dear Lord of above, send me back my love. Yes, please, dear Lord up above, send me back my love. Solitude,
Those are the Ravens. Those are the Ravens, a.k.a. Whoops, Johnny G lost his place. The Ravens, a.k.a. Willis Saunders and the Embers, their October 1959 release there is going out to the Colonel on the Top Rack label, song entitled Solitude. As we continue here, now last week I played a request for Joe Shacatano, a song called Just Leave Me, is it Leave Me Alone? I have a long here. It's got to be alone. It's not a long. Just Leave Me Alone. Now, the group was from Buffalo, New York, and every time I hear the A side of this song, it reminds me of Donnie Elbert. So I'm always wondering if Donnie Elbert is on lead here. And if you look at the writer credit, it says Donnie Albert. I think that could be a typo, though. So I know he was up in Buffalo, and I think this really might be him on lead. It's speculation. If anybody knows for sure, send Johnny G an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. But I remember winning this record in a John Tefteller auction so many years ago. This one from March of 1959. They're called the Derbies on the Mercury label. It's called Night After Night.
Boom, boom, boom. Night after night, I dream of you. Baby,
Those are the Derbies there with someone sounding similar. I don't know if it really sounds like Donnie Elbert, but he may be trying to sound like Donnie Elbert. Now, maybe he was on this is 1959. I don't know where he might have been. I know he has a number of releases on Deluxe, but maybe he went to other labels. I think like in Philly, Red Top, I think he was on, and a couple other labels, VJ Records, I think. But it could be, maybe they're sounding like him, possibly, but it's from March 59. Great two-sided record, The Derbies on Mercury with Night After Night. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, back to Los Angeles, California we go, when Johnny Staton, of the Feathers, he left the group. He decided to form a new group in 1959, and they were called the Individuals. They had 2 releases that came out on the Showtime label. Now, the common side to both of those 2 releases is a song called Jungle Superman, but there were 2 different flip sides. I don't know if Jungle Superman was the A side. I think it was, or maybe not. And it came out but on the flips, there's 2 different flip sides. And I'm playing the second flip, which I'm going to send out to George Tompkins. This one from October 1959. These are the Individuals with Johnny Staton on lead. He also wrote this song. It's on the Showtime record label. The song is called Dear One.
Dear one, you are the only girl I could ever love, that I'll swear to all stars above, and I promise to be true. You know it seems that you tiptoed into all of my dreams. You're the finest girl I've ever seen. Saving all of my love for you. I said, Lord, in all children look for the love there. At night, when I'm alone, I pray to the Lord above to set my baby on fire. You are like a brand new choo-choo toy. Yes, I long to be where you are. Saving all my love for you. And I promise to be true. Saving all my love for you.
We'll send that one out to George Tompkins there. The Individuals, October 1959. It's on the Showtime label. A song entitled Dear One. The first press of that, Jungle Superman, yes, Brian, is on a yellow label. That is correct, but it doesn't have that as the flip. This is the second release from October 59. And by the way, you can get this one also on Red Fox Records. They reissued it in 1965 for the second coming of the music, I guess we can call it, the 1960s revision of this music. Let's continue here for another request for young Evan Blatt, a rare 45 out of Cleveland, Ohio by a group called the Annuals. Now, this was first The first press of this is very hard to find. Came out on the Con label, CONN. It was then re-released again on Marcon. Something went on with the owner and whatever his partners, so they had to re-release the record. But the titles are slightly different. I'll show you the Marcon copy I do have. But it features, I'm featuring the true first press of this. So by request for Evan, this is the novelty side, because the other side is more of a serious side. So Brian, do you have this record in either on the Con or the Marcon label? December 1958 or 1959 on this one here. The Annuals on Con. It's called Hungry.
I am hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, stop. So stop, please. Give me some food. Hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, wanna die. Hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, wanna cry. Hungry, yes, hungry, I could tell a lie. So stop, please. Give me some food. Hungry. I'm hungry. Where's the pie? I'm bony. You know why? I can see food before my eyes. So stop, please. Give me some food. I'm so hungry, I don't know what to do. Running around town looking for some food. My head about to boil and my stomach's about to cook. I don't care just how it looks. I'm hungry, my heart breaks. I'm hungry, where's the steak? I'm hungry, I could eat a cake. So stop, please. Give me some food. I remember what I used to do. I had a job and plenty of food. Now I'm broke and out of the job. You know, about to starve. I'm hungry, feel so mean. I'm hungry, where's the beans? I'm hungry, no bread in my jeans. So stop, please. Give me some food. Everybody's talking about get a job. Well, I had a job now. I'm about to starve. I haven't had no food since 21. Way back before the world begun. Whoa, hungry. I'm hungry, feel so mean. I'm hungry, where's the beans? I'm hungry, no bread in my jeans. So start, please. Give me some food.
As by request for Evan Blatt, the Annuals there, December 58 release or early 1959 on the Con label. Hungry is the name of the tune, and it was released again on the Marcon label. Hungry I'm Hungry. It's the alternate title on the Marcon label. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, back to my tribute to the late Charles Patrick, lead of the Monotones. Now, after the Argo releases, they would have two more on B. Caslin's Hull label. Now, let's give a listen to the ballad side of their first, written by Frank Smith. Frank Smith, he was the bass for the group, as we pay tribute to the late Charles Patrick. This one from August 1960. We move into 1960 now. The Monotones on Hull with their tune called Dream.
Do, 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 do.
Dream, oh how lovely, lay your head down and go on and dream. And when you awake, there beside you. You know just how much I love you so, oh darling. Give me one more chance, oh darling. I really, really love you so, oh darling. Give me one more chance. Beside you, dream, 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 pretty baby.
August 1960 release there for the Monotones. The Monotones with Charles Patrick, the late Charles Patrick on lead on the Hull label. A great tune there, song entitled Dream. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we are in the early 60s, 1960 to be exact. And up next, a request for Métis Campboy, my number one California listener. She requested the debut single for this group from Philadelphia, PA. They would have a top 10 record on the Heritage label in 1961, When We Get Married, but their debut 45 came out in 1960 on Buddy Caldwell's Len label, and Métis requested the intended B-side. Both sides are excellent in my opinion. The tune was written by the lead singer. His name is Donald Hogan. So by request for Métis, this one from January 1960. These are the Dream Lovers. The Dream Lovers on the Len label. It's called Take It From a Fool.
Take it from a fool.
I was someday when I wore the king's
As by request from Matey Campboy there, the Dream Lovers from January 1960 on the Len label, Take It From a Fool. Flipside's an excellent tune also for the first time. Gotta say hi to a New Jersey Bob T. Got to go back and forth into the Top Shelf Oldies chat room. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, played a request for the Colonel by Bebo Singleton, and he previously sang lead with the Rhythm Cadets on the Vesta label, and it was a solo effort on the Vim label called Dreams O Dreams. But George, he requested the flip side of this record from May of 1960. Let's give a listen to Bebo Singleton on the Vim label, and a B-side. It's called Dolores.
How I love the kisses of Dolores. Oh, Dolores. Not Marie or Emily or Doris. Only my Dolores. From a balcony above me, she whispers love me and throws a rose. Ah, but she is twice as lovely as the rose she throws. I would die to be with my Dolores. I was made to serenade Dolores. Chorus after chorus. Just imagine eyes like moonrise, a voice like music, and lips like wine. What a break if I could make Dolores mine, all mine.
That's George Bebo Singleton. Boy, I messed up there. I said it was George, but it's George Bebo Singleton. That's going out to the Colonel there, May 1960. Bebo Singleton, Dolores on the Vim label. Of course, he does a great record on the Stentor label, The Shrine of the Echoes, which is a great record that he does. Johnny G here as we continue here, and another 45 from last week was a request for Matey Campboy. She requested The Distance, the intended B-side, which was the ballad called Always, that featured Richard Strick on lead. Actually, it's Richard Street, but it says Strick on the label. But I played my copy on Warwick. I have it, the first press, on the Northern label, but it's pretty rough. It doesn't sound as good as the Warwick label, as you are right, Reed. I try to play the better copies if I have them. But the flip side, I think it was Daryl that asked me to flip this 45 over. So we're going to play it on the Warwick label, the second press here. And it's from 1961. So these are The Distance on Warwick Records. I think this was the A-side. Excuse me, the A-side. It's called Come On.
Time, in the right time, in the bad time, in the
As by request for Darrell Letts, The Distance with Richard Strick on lead. That is his real name. I think it changed it for Street because John Clemente said that it sounded better, probably a better and easier name to say, I guess. But The Distance there, 1961 release. I featured it on the Warwick label. Originally came out on the Northern label. Song entitled Come On. As we continue here, we go back to California for another request for Matey Campboy. This gal would later on in the 1970s record with her group called Love Squad, but her debut single was in 1961 on the Skyla label. I do have it. I wonder if I featured it here. Teenage something Teenager was the name of it. But she followed it up with this release on the Raystar label with her group called The Impossibles. So this is by request for Matey Campboy, July 61. Linda Carr and The Impossibles on the Raystar label, and her tune is called Shy One.
Shy one, shy one, shy one.
As July 1961 there, going out to Matey Campboy. Linda Carr and the Impossibles on the Raystar record label. Shy One is the name of that one. She has other releases on the SAR label, DCP International, Ranwood that I've played on my 60's, All 60's show, and the Bell label. And what's the other side of this? Something about the Garbage Man, I think. Anyway, let's continue here. And I got another request. I gotta cut out. I gotta start going into the requests here that I play. And we have another request here for Matey Campboy. Now, Linda Carr and the Impossibles, I played that song Shy One, and her group was called The Impossibles. They added a lead singer, and they changed their name. They changed their name to the Cheerios, and the lead singer that they added was Bobby Sanders, and he is on lead on this song here. So going out to Matey Campboy from September 1961. These are the Cheerios with Bobby Sanders on lead. I'm featuring it on the Infinity label. It's called Where Are You Tonight?
pain. But time has passed on just the same. I find you still in my arms. Please come back to these arms that long to hold you, and the lips that you taught how to kiss you. These lonely, sad and lonely nights without you, I thought I'd never miss. And oh, lost love, want you once again, really want me. Take the pain that you brought me. Lost love. Oh, yes. Lost love.
As by request from Matey Campboy there, those are the Cheerios. The Cheerios, September 1961. Bobby Sanders on lead. It's on the Infinity record label, Where Are You Tonight? I showed you, I played the promo copy. I showed you a stock copy, and then I showed you that it also came out on the Golden Oldies label, which I think it's supposed to be Raystar. I think that looks like the Raystar label, so they put it out also. So, which is much cheaper, by the way, than the Infinity Press. Let's continue here. I got to get to some more requests here now. On last week's show, I played a request for. I'm sorry, I have the wrong one there. On my August 22nd show of 2020, I played a request for Joe Shacatano. He requested The Creations, a group out of Brooklyn, New York, on the Pinecrest label, with a song called Strolling Through the Park. Then I received an email this week from listener Roy Stein, and he was in our chat room earlier. I don't know if he's still around, but Roy, if you are, this is your request here, because he asked if I could play the flip side of this 45. So we're going to send this one out to Roy from September 61. These are The Creations. It features Joe Lo Cicero on lead. It's on the Pinecrest label. It's called Wake Up in the Morning.
I got to wake up in the morning round about 9. Feel so fine, drinking my wine. Go outside, try to find a job. If I can't find a job, I'ma should stop. Come back in round about 10. Drink more wine and go out again. Feel so fine, drinking my wine. That's the only thing that's on my mind. Some people call me a tramp, some people call me
As by request for listener Roy Stein there, The Creations. The Creations, the flip side of Strolling Through the Park, a song entitled Wake Up in the Morning, September 1961 on the Pinecrest label. Johnny G here, trying to fit in some more requests here. Actually, let's conclude my tribute to the late Charles Patrick with another song by the group that they recorded for the Hull label. This one never really came out on a 45, not until 1974 when Owl Records put it out. Now, Owl Records, their specialty was putting out LP cuts, of course, that never made it out on a 45, and this song was featured on a Hull LP called Your Favorite Singing Groups, which I do have. It's an expensive album. It's not really a common album that Hull put out, so there are a couple of releases on there that only made it, that didn't make it out to 45, but they did make it to these Owl reissues or these releases. So if you get a chance to pick up these Owl 45s, they're pretty cheap. They're album cuts. And this song was written by the late Charles Patrick, and this is a great tune, and it's on that LP, but you can get it on this Owl label from October 62, the Monotones on the Owl label, as we pay tribute to the late Charles Patrick. It's called A Toast to Lovers. As we conclude our tribute to the late Charles Patrick there on lead from October 1962 on the Owl label. Originally came out on that Hull LP called Your Favorite Singing Groups, A Toast to Lovers. Let's continue with 1, 2, 3 more 45s before we close down here on the Vinyl Treasure. Now, earlier we heard from the Chesters and a young Anthony Guardine on lead on Apollo, and of course he would go on to record as Little Anthony and the Imperials with tons of releases on various labels, NDCP, Veep, etc. But his group, the Imperials, did have some releases minus Little Anthony. I think they had 3. I think I have 1 on Carlton, and I have 2 on this label, New Time. And my number 1 California listener, Matey Campway, requested their second release on the New Time label. Features someone by the name of Sammy Strain on lead. So by request going out to Matey from August of 62, these are the Imperials on New Time with their tune called The Letter.
one. I miss you so. I'm sorry that I had to go, sweetheart. You, is your love for me still true? Don't worry, dear, I'll be home soon, so we can kiss under the moon. Tell your mother and father hello, and don't forget to kiss your kid sister Joe. Thinking of you all the time. You are always on my mind. I'm the boy, you're the girl. Just two kinds of people in the world. My dearest one, I'll soon be home, right in your arms, where I belong. So I'll say goodbye until then. Love and kisses till I see you again.
Yeah, trying to sound like Little Anthony on that one. That's by request from Matey Campboy, the Imperials minus Little Anthony. Sammy Strain on lead. He looks like they're typing in. He was in a number of groups. The Chips, what someone said, the Fantastics, a bunch of groups there. But August 1962, the Imperials with The Letter on the New Time record label. 2 more 45s to go before we sign off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Matey, I didn't find one of your requests going crazy. Didn't get to bed till 4:30 a.m. on Friday night looking for your request in the M box, the McKinley Mitchell record. I will find it eventually, so you need to stay tuned. But up next, a request for Joe Shacatano, this group from Philadelphia, PA. They were called the Five Classics. They have this 45 on the Road label. The lead singer of the group, his name is Sal Dupree, which is an alias for Sal Amarello, and they're doing a cover song. This was done originally in 1957. Patti Page had a hit with this on the Mercury label. This one from April 1963, by request for Joe Shacatano, the Five Classics on Road, and their rendition of the tune Old Cape Cod.
You're sure to fall in love with
as by request for Joe Shacatano there. April 1963 release for the Five Classics. The Five Classics on the Road label. They're out of Philadelphia, PA. Song entitled Old Cape Cod. And what else do we have? You can also get this 45 on the Medieval record label. Came out in 1964. And the group also backed up Dean Randolph on his chance to release a song called False Love, which I do have. I may have played it here on the show many years ago. Well, that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Takes me hours to pull out these requests. I need people here to help me file all these record boxes that are up here and down in the basement. I have industrial shelving to the ceiling with boxes of 200 filled with 200 records in each box, and there's 70s and 80s and 60s and 50s and 78s all over the place. So if you want to come help, you're welcome to do it after the pandemic, of course. But anyway, I had a swell time tonight. I hope you did too. But send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com for your requests. You've been getting a lot of requests, so I'm kind of mixing them up through the shows. And it's a lot of fun because it really forms the show, and and a lot of great taste in music too, I have to say. And you're picking records that I haven't heard in years that need to be played, and the only place you're really going to hear them is right here on the Vinyl Treasure Show and Top Shelf Oldies. But again, if you missed any part of the show, you can always go to my YouTube page, Johnny G Vinyls Treasures, and you can watch it there, or you can go to my homepage, vinyltreasures.net. You can stream or download the shows there. If you go to the Top Shelf Oldies website, Tim has all the disc jockeys during the week, and they archive their shows. So if you miss any of the shows live, you can also listen to the Top Shelf Oldies DJs on their archives. So they're there. You can even, so if you have time and you can't listen to one of their shows live, you can always check out their archives, as you can check out mine, and you should subscribe to my station. I hope you do. I am asking you to do. But anyway, we're going to close the show tonight with a request from my number one California listener, Mady Campboy. She requested a duo from Brooklyn, New York. They're best known for their top 10 hit, What's Your Name, that came out on the Big Top record label. And their name, of course, is Don and Juan. That's Roland Trone and Claude Johnson. They previously were members, of course, of the Genies of Who's That Knockin' fame, but Mady requested the second of 5 that they did on the Mala label. This one's on the Mala label, and this charted number 51 on WQAM in Miami, Florida. And our closer tonight is for Mady Campboy for Don and Juan from May 1964. The song is called Pledging My Love. That's on the Mala label. That is our closer. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please tune in tomorrow evening here on Top Shelf Oldies for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show. Lots of cool 60s sounds from his collection on 45 from 12 to midnight on Top Shelf Oldies and all the Top Shelf Oldies shows, as I mentioned. Thank you, Charlene, again for all your help. Thank you all that stuck around for the whole time to listen to the show. I enjoy bringing it to you, and it's my pleasure. Just hope you heard some tunes maybe you never heard before, or at least that you like. But again, folks, thank you so much. I will see you next Saturday at 10 o'clock right here on Top Shelf Oldies and YouTube. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
Forever, my darling, our love will be true, always and forever. I'll love only you. Just promise me, darling,
to home. Making you happy is my desire. Giving you is my goal. I'll forever love you the rest of my days. I'll live apart from you and your loving ways. That is my love. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. That is my love. Yeah, 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 yeah. That is my love.
Okay, folks, let me show you the two records there. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody and say goodnight to you guys, those of you. There's 17 of you tuned in, so I didn't type in 17 thank yous. Here's Joe Shacatano's request. It's on the Road label, Old Cape Cod. The other side's good, too, if you don't know. It's called Magic Star. That's a good... I had to buy another copy of this because it was... The other one I have is off-center. I don't like off-centered 45s. And that other one, Matey, that is a very good request that you did, that you picked out. Haven't heard that one in a long time. I had it in the collection. I was concerned. I said, is this in my 60s collection? I'll never find it. But I did have it here. Here it's on the, this is a painted-on styrene label. I know Brian loves these styrene 45s. There you go. Pledging My Love. They do a great rendition there. Don and Juan on the Mala label. That is the plug side there for that. Thank you, Matey, for requesting that. I'll find your McKinley Mitchell 45. I have it checked off. I have it. I thought I actually saw it when I was looking for your other one by him. I should have pulled it out, and like a fool, I did not. But anyway, I'll find it sooner or later. I usually do. But again, thank you all for tuning in. The Johnny G's going to need a knee replacement, which I am not looking forward to, so I'm trying to put that off because I've been going to therapy. I went to the doctor, and he was pushing knee replacement. I am not doing that, not yet at least, but anyway, not in this pandemic. But again, folks, thank you so much. I'll see you here next Saturday at 10 o'clock, 10 to 1 a.m. for more 45s out of my collection. Everybody stay safe. Thank you all again, and I'll see you next Saturday, or maybe before if I'm not so busy with my working. You never know. Now that I'm not going for therapy, maybe I'll be the warm-up for Hi-Fi Tim on Monday evening. You never know. All right, everybody, so long. Take care. Thanks again, Charlene, for all your help. Good night, everybody.